So the PulseChain takeover continues. If you look across a lot of the social medias, we've actually even dominated Bitcoin on a few of these cycles, millions of tweets, over some of these time frames. It is insane to see how much commotion there really is. I think a lot of us expected this, but didn't expect it. We kind of knew that we were going to come in and be the shining light on the hill. It's really interesting to see how that's come true, isn't it? So since this last week, we have Kanga, another couple other institutions that have picked it up, that have it on their exchanges, more fungibility, more on-ramps to get into PulseChain. We've seen a handful of different wallets. I've seen a few people mention that are now accepting PulseChain. The APIs are getting a little cleaner, so if you're looking at pricing across some of these different platforms, CoinMarkeCap, DexScreener, they're still not perfect, but they're getting sharper. And this is something, by the way, that affects us as well. APIs are really important for getting accurate pricing into a lot of these other DeFi protocols, so this is part of the reason why we have our timeline. But we can see that stuff is getting closer, right? There's less ARB, the peg between bridged assets is sharper. They're pretty tight now. So everything's starting to get cleaned up. The bridge has been running flawlessly throughout the entire week. Everything's clean there. And then RH gave us this heads up that they're working on a bridge that will actually be able to allow you to use the bridge on the east side and then have unwrapped Pulse. Now, this is actually a bigger deal than it sounds like. I'm sure a few people have already had the struggle, but for those of us that haven't, if you use the current bridge and you bring over assets from Ethereum, you get wrapped Pulse, right? So you can't go grab Pulse and have it unwrapped on the other side. So you end up still having gas issues and not being able to get to Pulse. The new bridge is going to allow you to bridge assets in and actually have unwrapped Pulse and go right into transacting. This will make a huge difference. If you look at the transaction volumes, the majority of it is still being done by the original sacrifice set. So we'll have a lot more expansion, a lot more growth with this new bridge. It's on testnet being tested. People should go play with it. Get this thing nice and vetted, excuse me. Let's get it vetted. So once it's vetted, we can get it over on mainnet and get to rocking and really increase its volume and get more people, more economic energy into the chain. That's it, man. I think that's the biggest things. We're just seeing more and more adoption, more and more hype cycle on the socials. I think that we will see probably another 30, 45 days of some of these accumulation periods. I think that's what people should be focusing on. If you're doing any of the farms, make sure you check the finish tab. That was another one that came up. People who hadn't claimed their rewards weren't able to get out their LP, didn't see it. So if you were in a farm and you don't see it, check the finish tab. That was a big one. And let's see, where's the real magic? EHEX, PHEX. This is a big debate. We'll go ahead and link to a stream. It's kind of a well thought out, long drawn out process to kind of work through some of those opinions. It doesn't really make much sense to me to just let EHEX die off. Hex is the same on either side. What you basically have is the difference in networks. It's hard to think that anything that doesn't die, that's down 97%, isn't a asymmetrical risk, but I get both sides, right? So kind of on the fence on it, but I think it's way overblown right now. But I would just recommend to the community, does not be short-sighted. The patient typically get paid by the impatient. And I think this will be one of those scenarios where we see many knee-jerk reactions. Doesn't mean which side is right. Just in general, the people who do less, the people who are more patient tend to work out a lot better off in these situations. So pay attention to some of the dialogue that we have on EHEX, PHEX. Make sure that you're testing the bridge on Testnet. Make sure you're hopping on LL's Testnet. And we have just more adoption, more growth. We're going to be doing some extra Twitter spaces. I'll be doing a bunch more media. Check out some of the shorts. Make sure you guys are subscribed here to the channel. We have a lot of content coming. And man, what a beautiful release. Just still before the bull market to have everything come out, to have all the sentiment that we have, and to still be moving along the way we are. I couldn't be happier, guys. I hope you guys are as bullish as I am, and I'll catch you guys next week.